I'm painting a vintage cross-stitch pattern on my baby's nursery wall. I just did the math and I'm gonna need to paint over 8,000 stitches. I probably should have thought this through a little bit better. But speaking of thinking, I had to think of the best way to get a grid onto the wall, and I settled on getting these giant pieces of paper printed at Staples that are 36 inches by 48 inches. Initially, I wanted to use our projector, but A, it's in a box somewhere, and B, I don't think the room is big enough for me to get the image projected at the proper size, so I had to find a way to do it by hand. So I used charcoal and I shaded in the whole back side of this paper, and then I taped it to the wall and traced over the grid lines. Each of the little squares are 1.8 inches big. So if I did my calculations right, I should be able to fit the whole cross-stitch pattern on these 2 walls. This was totally throwing me back to like the first grade when we would get leaves or random things from outside and take their little impressions. But anyways, I was crossing my fingers that this was going to work how I'd hoped, and after a couple hours of on and off work, I pulled back the paper and it was literally perfect. I decided I'm going to work in sections because I was really eager to start painting to see if this is even going to turn out. So I labeled all of my little jars of paint, 25 sample jars to be exact, and then I got to work painting some of the X's in the first section, working color by color. But at this point, it's 9 p.m., so I'm going to call it a night, so come back tomorrow to see the progress.